Happy New Year's!
Happy New Year's! And this is not a green screen.
Yes, it is. Wow. Let's hope that 2023 is much better than 2022 was, and that we see an even larger fall of Watchtower and religions, and these organizations that abuse people.
Well, and there again, when we talk about the fall of Watchtower, some of us may think, well, we want the doors closed and locked and everything else. And we're all wishing for that. But the more we see Watchtower become more like mainstream Christian religions, that's their fall. Because the very thing that they've despised over the years and the generations is what they are now forced to become. Because, I've said it before and I'll say it right now, their 1914 business model absolutely failed, and they have to create a new business model. And that's one of the reasons why they have to have this PID department, because they have to try to get away from some of the stuff that they've said in the past about other Christian religions. And this is one of the nooses around their necks.
And speaking of the PID department,
Yeah.
Let's play that clip for those of you that didn't see our video about the Public Information Department at Watchtower.
Our foremost concern is protecting Jehovah's organization.
Now, the reason we play that clip again is because it plays into what we're going to be covering here.
Right.
Because they even mentioned that PID department in this article that I am going to read. So, just have that in your mind. And any PIMOs or Jehovah's Witnesses that are watching, you need to tell your JW friends and family about this, that they don't care about you.
Right.
All they care about is the money and the power.
And also being able to come up with a different business model. And right now, since they've gone out of their way to destroy other Christian business models, they have no choice. And the biggest thing is the CSA problem that they're being exposed for.
Yeah. Now, this was on Twitter, and Ron Pimo, he had a link to it, and you had to be a subscriber to the Philadelphia Inquirer to get the actual article. Well, someone sent me a link to the pressreader.com digital newspaper, and the article is available there. I also grabbed it and transferred it to a PDF, so if anybody can't open the pressreader.com, just contact me at KimmyMBrooks@gmail.com, and I will give you the PDF that I grabbed. And I'm going to read this entire article. It's 2 pages. And I think this is important to get out there, because this all goes back to the grand jury investigation going on in Pennsylvania right now. And it's a shame Jehovah's Witnesses don't know about this. And we all know that Pennsylvania is where Russell started his cult. And so I find it ironic and amazing that the universe has brought this full circle from Russell back then in Pennsylvania back to Pennsylvania. And if this gets to be well known, you're going to see Watchtower diminishing even more.
See, and that's the power and the efficacy of YouTube. It is the game changer. Now, for those XJWs that are, soft talking about wanting to have a new spokesperson, you are the spokesperson for this community. Do not negate yourself to a different singularity.
Well, it goes back to you saying, claim your own sovereignty.
Right.
You are the spokesperson. You're the activist.
Right.
Don't pick another individual who's flawed.
Yeah.
Mike and I, we try to, do our best. We wouldn't want to be the spokesperson because we want to see everybody have their own voice. And we're thinking of doing a reaction video to a video we watched yesterday. But I just want to mention, in that video, he said diversity is our strength.
Right.
Now, this is Greg Braden, who has nothing to do with religion or JWs or anything. He is what I would call a light worker who is exposing truth and trying to find, he wants all of us to find our freedom and our own sovereignty. And this is coming out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Diversity is our strength. We don't want groupthink. We don't want another, foremost apostate or spokesperson speaking for this community. Because then you get groupthink. Oh, well, you don't do activism this way. Do it this way. See, and that's the thing, is diversity is our strength.
Diversity is our strength, and so is you claiming your authority.
Exactly.
You are the spokesperson.
Yeah, we can each have a part in this. He was watching another video, and they talked about one drop in a bucket. But imagine, look at the torrential floods you can have with a lot of one little drops.
Yeah.
See, and that's the point, is we have to realize we may be one little drop. Mike and I may be two little drops in a huge ocean. But if you have a lot of drops, look at the flood, the tsunami we can cause.
And look at how ex-members are flooding the internet, YouTube in particular, with your personal experiences. And Watchtower can't escape this flood. No matter how they try to do it, no matter how much they try to deflect, how much they try to gaslight, they're unable to do it. That's why they have to become like mainstream religions and deal with it as, whatever the final results are going to be.
Yeah, and after we cover a few of the news items, I'm going to be reading and announcing something that's going to be happening this new year in 10 months. Yeah, in 10 months. So stay tuned. First, I want to cover this article. Like I said, this was from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Update on Pennsylvania investigation. Hill confessed he had affairs with at least 9 children.
Okay, I want you friends to focus for just a moment on what's being stated here. See, Hill confessed he had affairs. That right there speaks to the mindset of Jehovah's Witnesses. They do not view CSA as a crime. They view it as a sin. Thus, the wording affairs.
See, they will use wording like affairs, or they dated a young person, or something else. They will always try to diminish it.
Deflect.
Yeah. So
gaslight.
I'm going to read this article because it's very disturbing, and I don't care if YouTube demonetizes it, because we are going to give our opinion. And once again, I am angry that this went on, and the elders, it was in their power to stop this, and they didn't.
But because they care more for protecting a name. Instead of sullying the name and finding your freedom, they cause misery and disappointment in that name.
Yeah.
That's why I said before, guys, I even entitled the video, it's not about God, it's all about a name, and this is proof.
Yeah. And look at 9 children. Their innocence was stolen from them, and it has ruined their lives. So, we're going to keep speaking out. This has got to stop. All right, back to the article. Brother Hill's addiction. Secret records show Jehovah's Witnesses tolerated abuse. Rarely glimpsed files show that witness elders compared one man's alleged abuse of 9 boys to alcoholism. And this is an article by David Gambacorda, and it was updated December 22nd, 2022. Somewhere within the Jehovah's Witness vast world headquarters, about 45 miles outside of New York City, set records that the organization's leaders guard closely. The documents known as S-77 forms contain information about witnesses who have been disfellowshipped, excommunicated, in other words, for sexually abusing children. The organization is so protective of its knowledge of internal predators that it once incurred a $2 million worth of court fines rather than release files that were requested by attorneys for a former witness who sued in California over sexual abuses that he suffered at the hands of an elder. But some of those records are now being revealed as part of the fallout from a Pennsylvania grand jury investigation that led to the October arrest of 4 witnesses who are accused of abusing 19 minors. The records recount in disturbing detail how witness leaders were confronted with evidence of appalling crimes and did nothing in keeping with a long-standing pattern of secrecy surrounding sexual abuse. Jesse Hill offers one such alleged example. Hill, 52, was charged by the State Attorney General's office with molesting 2 boys he met through witness congregation in Kutztown, it's Kutztown, and Reading in the 1990s. Investigators allege that Hill took the boys on trips to malls and movie theaters and plied them with alcohol, marijuana, and pornography. One victim testified to grand jurors that between the ages of 9 and 11 he was sexually abused by Hill. The man claimed Hill told him, "Let's just keep it between me and you." Another victim told the grand jury he thought that by staying quiet about abuse he had suffered for 6 years, beginning at age 11, he might have prevented Hill from preying on his younger brother. How sad. How disgusting.
Do you trust the faithful slave? Jesus does. Do you see the dichotomy? Do you see the problem they're suffering from?
Exactly. During the winter of 1998, Hill confessed to a committee of witness elders, the equivalent to parish priests. There's your clergy penitent privilege right there. That he had what he described as affairs with at least 9 children, according to pages of an S-77 form that the Attorney General's office obtained as part of its investigation, which began in 2019 and is ongoing. The committee likened Hill's crimes, at least the secular authorities view it as a crime, to alcoholism. So it was with Brother Hill's addiction when around young boys, they wrote on the form, which was later mailed to the witness leadership, the Watchtower Bible Tract Society of New York. Elders told relatives of Hill's victims about the allegations of nightmarish abuse, even noting on their paperwork that some parents became belligerent, angry, others were stunned beyond belief, but none contacted the police. How much you want to bet that they were threatened with disfellowshipping if they did?
Of course. We've been espousing this for a decade now.
The Attorney General's office wrote in a recent court filing, Hill remains behind bars in Berks County. Earlier this month, a judge agreed to lower Hill's bail from $1.5 million to $750,000, according to the Reading Eagle. Hill's attorney, Jay Nigarini, could not be reached for comment. Imagine that.
Well, yeah. Imagine how efficient this PID department is in this case.
Yeah.
you can't reach them.
Yeah. Elders at a witness congregation in Kutztown voted to reinstate Hill in 2011, despite his past admission of abusing multiple children. That committee that reinstated him, they're just as guilty as he is for any child that was abused after that. Oh, these guys are just, I just hate them so bad. I hate them. Hill volunteered as recently as 2 years ago at another congregation in Berks County, but was removed from that position because of complaints about inappropriate contact with 11 and 12-year-old boys, investigators allege. All of which leads to a simple question. Why hadn't elders reported Hill to law enforcement? That's what all of us should be asking.
Well, because sins don't need to be reported. See, when you have the mindset that these are not crimes, then there's really no sense in reporting them to the police. So that mindset needs to change. And unfortunately, it's going to take laws. It's going to take brave people to speak out.
Yeah. Now, wait for it. Here it comes. In a statement to the Enquirer, the Witness Public Information Office said that while it was not appropriate to comment on an active court case, we want to express our concern for all victims of abuse, regardless of faith.
You know, dear, Let got that wrong. Let should have been saying, why? If it's anybody that protects pedophiles, it's Jehovah's organization. So you see, friends, it's not this hard when you know what they're doing.
Exactly. Exactly. And then in italics it says, we agree with the authorities that any victim of abuse should consider contacting the police, but they won't.
Right.
Oh. See, and then they lie to members, current Jehovah's Witnesses, that they do contact the authorities. We have heard over and over again how they say, oh, well, we contact the authorities if we hear of allegations. No, they don't. They're lying. Going on. For decades, though, the leaders of the organization, which was founded in Pittsburgh in the 1870s, have conveyed a different message to their followers. Exactly.
See?
We know of, even in our own congregation, of a JW sister and her 2 girls. They were threatened with disfellowshipping if they went to the police about the stepfather. And then the elders got him out of jail.
On his own recognizances.
Yeah. A 1989 memo obtained by the Enquirer instructed elders to refuse cooperating if police ever appeared at a Kingdom Hall with a search warrant. Another memo from 1997 advised elders to withhold information about known sexual predators from congregations. To Jeffrey Fritz, a Philadelphia attorney who has sued the Watchtower in Pennsylvania and New York on behalf of multiple sexual abuse survivors, even the organization's policies on S-77 forms are rooted in evading accountability. And look at the case in Illinois with Pankava and Scott. It was all about Watchtower protecting the organization.
See, there again, using that word evading accountability is just fancy words for gaslighting.
Hiding.
See? If it's anybody that would go out of their way to protect pedophiles, why, it's Jehovah's organization.
Yeah. That form is to be kept literally in a safe, never to be opened or shared with anyone at a congregation. He said, in some cases, what I've seen is they destroy the records at the local congregation level and a copy is kept at their headquarters in New York. Exactly. There was an elder's letter on that very thing.
Well, remember how some in the community went after Mark Latham because he did a video years ago about how they were told to destroy records in the whole community. Oh no, Mark Latham's lying. Mark Latham don't know what he's talking about. And then Mark Latham was proved right, and not one single apology went that man's way.
Yeah.
Not one single apology from all those people telling Mark Latham he had no idea what he was talking about.
Well, some even went and talked to a journalist that he had an appointment with to get some important information to. They stopped that interview and tried to discredit Mark Latham because, basically saying he's just a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist and there's no basis in this. And we showed clips right from the Australian Royal Commission where they admitted they destroy records. Yeah. And we have had elders' letters, and so many say, yes, they do destroy records. They may make a digital copy and send it to headquarters, but the hard copy, yes, they do destroy records. So anyone who says they don't doesn't know what they're talking about.
Don't know what they're talking about. And this is why I said earlier in the video, having a spokesperson in this community is not going to work. Because unless you surrender every ounce of authority to that spokesperson, well, hey, you might as well just go back to Watchtower, because that's what they're doing here, surrendering all their authority to a governing body.
And I will tell you, in Mike and I's experience the past 10 years of doing activism, ego always gets in the way.
That's right.
Always. Every single organization we have seen somebody start up, they may have the best intentions, but something always happens. Either someone goes after them, and the good ones who are honestly trying, guess what? The ones with egos and the scam artists go after and attack them. Seen it over and over again.
And then the good, honest-hearted ones are chased away.
Yeah. Going back to the article, I digress. Fritz argues that transporting written evidence from local cities and counties where crimes would be prosecuted to New York is a move meant to stymie investigators. Let me repeat that for emphasis. Transporting written evidence from local cities and counties where crimes would be prosecuted to New York is a move meant to stymie investigators and basically hide it.
So they know exactly how to deflect.
Exactly.
They know exactly how to prolong the pain of the victims.
Exactly. They don't care. Their foremost concern is protecting the organization. They'll even throw elders under the bus to protect their precious cult. He goes on, and I like this. It's somewhat of a shell game, he said. Local law enforcement doesn't have the resources to do interstate investigations. See, and that's where the FBI comes in this country, because they do have the authority to cross state lines and to do investigations nationwide. They can even go anywhere in the world and do investigations. But why aren't they?
Corruption! Excuse me. Dust in the air.
Yeah. In 2018, the Enquirer wrote about a witness official, Sean Bartlett, who'd been videotaped telling elders at a seminar to destroy documents that could harm the organization in litigation. And we have shown that clips many times.
Right.
In fact, for you new ones, let's put it in right here.
So we've talked about what a record is. The question is, why has this come up? Why is it that we have records management now? We've been functioning as an organization for years. Well, we know that the scene of this world is changing, and we know Satan's coming after us. And he's going to go for us legally, we can see by the way things are shaping up. So the organization has said, we've run into difficulties in the past because of the records we have. So the coordinators committee said, we want a systematic way to handle records at all branches. And then in time, in the next 2 or 3 years, the computer department's going to start shifting all the software that we use in order to match records management and the program that we're going to talk about today.
See, you have it right there. Right out of their own mouth, out of that leaked video out of Watchtower. Then they deny it. Well, we know that the scene of the world is changing, and we know Satan's coming after us, and he's going to go for us legally, Bartlett said in the video. You just heard it. Which was leaked online by an anonymous insider. Pimo. We can see by the way things are shaping up. So the organization has said, we've run into difficulties in the past because of the records we have. That culture of secrecy, though, is starting to crack. Hopefully. The wall is beginning to come down, Fritz said. It's going to take efforts from all states to fully peel it away. The Attorney General's office asked others who have abuse allegations to contact a special hotline. Okay? Get a pen and paper, pause it, and write this down. 1-888-538-8541. So if you have any information that can help them. And we want to thank Kevin and Shelley Dean for working with the state attorney's office, because he has been a big part of this. And all of you abuse survivors and PMOs and ex-elders, and you know, even Mike and I have given them information.
Right.
But all of you who have been working behind the scenes to get them this information and get this exposed, you guys are the heroes and you are the light workers getting this exposed. And that's what light worker means. Just exposing stuff, exposing lies, exposing hypocrisy. So we should all be light workers.
And maybe once in a while putting out some sort of bluff prediction, such as, how does Watchtower get away from this now? Well, you're seeing it happen. They're becoming an online religion. They still have some things that they need to presumably work through. But hey, Watchtower, I have your new name. The Online Christian Association of Jehovah's Witnesses.
I kind of like the name that we came up with back in 2014. The
What?
666 Club.
The 666 Club. Yeah, exactly. I mean, here again, the reason why it has seemed so easy for Kim and I to have dispel or kind of like predict a little bit of ahead what Watchtower is going to do is because we come out of Watchtower and we refuse to view them as a religion. We viewed them as a business, and religion is a business. And that's why religion is such a lucrative endeavor, because everybody that becomes a minister goes online and shuffles their feet across the stage, becomes multi-millionaires over and over and over again, just like Watchtower has, because it's a business. So when you look at it from a business perspective, you can predict certain business models to fail. And I said it before, that 1914 business model failed because that generation is dead and gone. They have no choice in doing what they're doing right now.
Okay, now we have something else very important to announce. I want to thank Tammy very much, because I'll just read her email. If you could please announce it January 1st, 2023, that would be great. And also let Jonas know and announce it on his channel, because he is a big-time protester where he is. The more I can get it announced, the better. My goal is to have this done every month until the day October 31st, the same day Charles Taze Russell died. Watchtower is done. All PMOs will be able to conceal their identity, as well as anyone who or was in a high control group and want change. Please feel free to send Jonas a permit, or if necessary I can contact him. I just don't have this information. I sent it to Jonas, and I want to show that Tammy does have a permit for this. So all of you haters that want to start contacting the authorities and stuff and say this is illegal and start comparing it to what happened 2 years ago, here's the permit. 4. The sponsoring organization, Let Yourself Be Free in 2023. In accordance with the Metropolitan Police Department regulations, permission is hereby granted, I'm not going to mention her full name, to conduct an assembly on Tuesday, October 31st, 2023 from 1,000 hours assembly time until 1547 hours. Disbanding time consisting of 1,000 persons. You are permitted to possess a banner, flags, and a portable sound system. The demonstration will take place in the 1600 block of Pennsylvania Avenue, Northwest, Washington, D.C. That's where the Capitol is. A 20-foot wide fire lane on the south side of Pennsylvania Avenue will be maintained for emergency vehicles at all times during this assembly. A United States Park police permit is required for the use of Lafayette Park and the White House sidewalk. And then they have the following conditions, and it's signed by the commander of Special Operations Division, Metropolitan Police Department. So they do have a permit, because we know there's problems with the Warwick protest back in 2017. You know, haters were calling the authorities and say it was going to be a violent protest, and they were concerned that there was going to be violent acts and stuff.
Well, wasn't that one of the haters in the camp of Lloyd Evans?
Yeah.
See? You don't need a spokesperson, friends. I'm telling you right here, right now. Every time you relegate yourself to having a singular spokesperson, disaster entails.
Well, then he denied it, even though we all have the video of him admitting it.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. Now, something else I wanted to cover. I thought this was interesting, and I want to thank everybody who sends me links and all this information. My inbox is full. But it goes along with what we see happening. And I just have the feeling that in 2023, this is going to be happening more. And many have sent me the link and said, is the governing body 8 next? Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Let's send positive energy out. The source of all, the universe, whatever you want to believe, you know, Allah, Buddha, whatever, it doesn't matter. The goddess, Gaia, Sophia, goddess, whatever. Put that positive energy. The same thing happens to Watchtower, because these abusive cults / organizations need to be exposed. And I'm going to put the link down below. But the head of Scientology has taken off, and they're looking for him. Go look in Argentina, where there's no extradition to the United States. He's probably down there with, you know, by the Watchtower's new branch.
I'm sure he's held up in some bungalow on some island state owned by Tom Cruise.
Or Thailand.
Or that too. That's just another option.
Or Epstein Island.
Or, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Finding David Miscavige, whatever his name is. Why lawyers have been unable to serve papers on Scientology leader. The mysterious leader behind the Church of Scientology is being sought by lawyers for 3 former members who are suing the religious sect, alleging decades of abuse. Sound familiar? These abusive cults are done. They just don't know it yet. They're fighting it, kicking and screaming. Guys, you're going to find this interesting. Scientology leader David Miscavige, whatever, is nowhere to be found. Named as a defendant in a federal child trafficking lawsuit, Mr. Miscavige.
How about Mr. Dumbass?
Misguided?
Misguided?
Whoever.
Yeah.
Has repeatedly dodged lawyers who have tried to serve the 62-year-old 27 times in 4 months at Scientology properties in Clearwater, Florida and California, the Tampa Bay Times reported.
I got something for these people. They've got a compound right here in New Mexico. Remember that? Remember? Yeah. He's probably here in New Mexico. You know, just a hop, skip, and a jump from Zorro Ranch.
Imagine that.
Imagine that, people.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And many news media are covering this. Even here in the independent Scientology leader David Miscavige can't be found, lawyers say. And they've been trying to serve him papers. And I will put the link to this article. The one I was just looking at, you have to be a subscriber to see the entire article.
You know, maybe what we should do as a community, start getting our elected officials used to the idea of reinstating the Texas Rangers, the New Mexico Rangers, the Arizona Rangers, and maybe we can hunt these scumbags down.
Maybe we need the old-time Pinkertons.
Yeah. Oh, but wait a minute. The Pinkerton turned into the cops. You don't want that because they're company-owned police.
Yeah. So, security guards at 10 Church of Scientology headquarters in Clearwater, Florida, and in California have refused to accept legal documents from process servers and claim they didn't know where Mr. Miscavige lives or works. Really? He's the head of your organization and you're going to try to protect him? This is as bad as Zolkin trying to serve the governing body those papers. Remember, they stopped him at the guardhouse right there at the gates of the Warwick headquarters.
That's right.
No different. No different. 3 former Scientologists filed a lawsuit in April alleging they were forced to work for the organization from the age of 10 until adulthood for little or no pay while suffering verbal and physical abuse. And we've heard this over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, you watch any Scientology documentary that is out there. There's several on YouTube. We even have some on our YouTube channel. And they admit it. These young girls were forced to work and perform basically sex workers.
Yeah.
Gaywin Baxter, who is suing the church with wife Laura Baxter and a third plaintiff, Valeska Paris, said in a statement released through his attorney that he was forced to sign a document at the age of 6, pledging to work for the Church of Scientology for 1 billion years. He said he began working in low or unpaid labor for the Scientology's cadet org from the age of 10 while being forced to attend expensive indoctrination sessions. The Baxters later worked for the church's military-style Sea Org before leaving in 2012. Growing up in Scientology, being separated from my family and subjected to severe verbal and physical abuse has scarred me in ways that I am still working through and uncovering, Mr. Baxter said in a statement released in April. How sad. How sad. This is another organization that needs to go down. All the while, Scientology continues to abuse and exploit its members, including young children, and does so with virtually unchecked power. Well, yeah, because they have members in very high places and connections with politicians in this country.
Right.
We've known this for years. The Tampa Bay Times reported the legal papers have been served to 5 church entities named as co-defendants in the trafficking lawsuit. They have requested that the lawsuit be pushed into internal arbitration before a panel of Scientology members. Basically, a judicial committee. However, a judge has yet to rule on that filing as the plaintiff's attorneys have not been able to locate Mr. Miscavige, the Bay Times reports.
I think that's pronounced Miscavige.
Miscavige?
Miscavige.
Yeah. Neil Glazer, an attorney for the plaintiffs, has asked the court to consider Mr. Miscavige has been served and is in default at a court hearing scheduled in Tampa Federal Court for January 20th. Like I said, go look in a country where there's no extradition.
It's the same old story. All of these religious cult leaders end up getting involved with children or getting involved in adultery, fornication. The whole entire Christian concept is littered with all of that. And yet they're the ones that try to gaslight and say, well, see, where did you get your good morals from? It came from the Bible. No, it didn't. Put that back on your shoulders, because you guys are the ones that, especially in the religious world, you're the ones that are holding these immoral characters up as your leaders, because you bought the bullshit that they represent Jesus. Hey, I've got a novel idea. Throw that crap away and learn to be your own sovereign. Claim your own sovereignty.
Yeah. Reclaim your own.
Reclaim it. Yeah.
I love the last sentence in this article. Miscavige cannot be permitted to continue his gamemanship, Mr. Glazer wrote in a December 13th court filing, the Tampa Bay Times reports. And I totally agree. All of these organizations should not be allowed to continue this abuse and this horrific practice that they have been doing for decades. Decades.
But as long as they have members still going to their churches, they're going to do it. So is it really the fault of the ministers, or is it the fault of the people that go to those churches and give up their hard-earned money, believing they're going to be saved by these nut jobs?
It's all their faults.
yeah.
Sorry, I just can't feel sorry for members anymore.
You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't feel sorry for them anymore, particularly in this day and age. Ignorance is a choice.
Yeah.
And in 2023, we're going to probably learn just how ignorant many in this world have proved to be.
The truth is going to come out, and unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of shocked and traumatized people.
And it even started today.
Yeah.
January 1st, 2023.
Exactly. Exactly. So thank you everybody for watching, and we will keep everybody informed with the news as much as possible. There's a lot coming in.
There'll be a lot coming this year.
Yeah, there will be a lot of news coming in, and we've got some emails of someone who is talking to family members in Bethel, and I don't want to mention rumors right now, but we're going to be keeping a close eye on what Watchtower is up to, because we're getting a heads up already of what they seem to be preparing for. So when we have more than just one report, we will keep everybody up to date. But we want to keep an eye, and any who have JW friends and family or anybody at headquarters, listen to what they're saying and what they're telling, because they are talking. They are talking.
Meeny, teakle, parson. It's already here. They have no choice but to re-identify and use a different business model. And right now, the biggest business model that's available to any Christian faith-based group is online religion.
Yeah, well, he just spent the morning recording some televangelists, and he's going to be doing a video about that. It was quite hilarious. I was trying to be quiet as best I could, but I couldn't help but laughing at some of these preachers. And it's like, the more we're away from Jehovah's Witnesses and the organization, the more we see how ridiculous these preachers and some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth. It's like they're as bad as the governing body.
Well, that's, as I'm recording a few of them, I'm adding some of my dialogue. And some of the stuff that these guys are saying on stage is the same crap Watchtower's been saying. So you know what? Go back to Watchtower, because it's all the same thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, Mike and I feel that they are going to be moving, and we've been saying this since 2014, that they are moving towards an online religion, because the Jehovah's Witnesses aren't wanting to go back to the Kingdom Hall.
Right.
They like the Zoom meetings. They want to stay at home. They don't want to do preaching. They just want to stay at home and watch their videos and feel good about it.
But they have no choice. This day and age, they have no choice, and they have to do it slowly. The proverbial frog in the water. If they did it all at once, it would be too obvious that this is not a blessing from Jehovah, but this is man's doing.
Yeah.
See? That's why it's taken Watchtower a little bit of time to do this, because they're actually boiling that water a little bit at a time, so that frog, or the Jehovah's Witnesses or my mother, will not be able to think back and say, geez, Mike, you were right about that. The Watchtower is going to become just like the 700 Club. And you guys are already seeing part of it with that video that got leaked with the PID department. I even recorded something this morning where you got 6 guys sitting around the table pretty much doing the same thing that Watchtower is showing JWs. It's the same control mechanism.
Yeah.
Learn to be the light instead of hiding behind the shade.
Exactly. Exactly. So we hope 2023 brings a great year. It will bring a great year.
Well, haven't we already started this?
Yes. Yes. So we want to be the first of 2023 to start it off with a bang and a great year that all of us light workers, aka activists, don't give anyone else your voice. You do your voice. And like our friend Jane Doe, many are shocked to find out she's a PMO, and that's why she doesn't show her face. And you can do the same thing.
You can
Just
do it.
aim the camera towards the screen and talk and give your voice. We did a video like a month ago about the PMO elder who is now doing videos. So, and I believe it was 1984. His YouTube channel was 1984.
He read George L. Orwell's book 1984 that woke him up from the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah. And he's still in good standing. He's a PMO elder. So even you PMOs can give your voice of your experiences and what you know and what you're hearing and what you're finding out. All of us can do this.
Remember, be the light. Don't hide behind the shadow.
Yeah. And we realize not everybody can do that, and it takes a very thick skin. And we always say, just disable comments, if you're not able to handle all of it.
Disable them.
Yeah.
Or just do what we do. Just don't engage with the haters. Just don't engage with them.
Yeah.
Because that's what they need for their own personal validation. That's what they need to feed on. So don't let yourself become the food source. It's not difficult.
Exactly. They're not worth your time and effort. So you all have a wonderful New Year's. Stay safe. Have some fun. And let's make 2023 a bang up year to go against these cults. Bye.